Good morning and welcome to another episode of Daybreak. I'm your host, Veronica Bucilli.
And I'm your host, Trevor Sheets. Today on Daybreak, we'll be updating you on the latest tech news.
Informing you on the ups and downs in sports.
And what's happening all around the world.
All that and more, Daybreak starts now. All right, Trevor, so we had a cold front coming in. I was taking on and off my jacket all day long. I didn't know what was happening. In the morning it was hot, then it got cold, the rain came in, it cooled off, and I hear that we have some more seasonal weather coming in. How do you feel about that?
I mean, I'm okay with it. Like we've discussed before, if I can wear this and not just be sweating the entire time, I'm pretty happy, and I like wearing sweaters. So that's, as long as it's not raining, I can deal with 50s and 60s and stuff like that. But Liz, what's the weather gonna be like pretty soon?
Hi, Trevor and Veronica. Well, on Monday, it will be in the lower 60s with winds at 5 miles per hour. So it will be going down shortly during the middle area of the week. And by the end of the week, it will be the perfect sweater weather for you, Trevor. So back to you, Trevor and Monica.
Thanks, Liz. Yeah, the sweater weather I'm perfectly fine with. I know Danny's, our other weather guy, isn't a huge fan of that, but you know what? He just needs to learn how to chill, literally.
Oh, wow, no pun intended. I like it.
All the pun intended, actually.
I really, I'm going to enjoy the sweater weather and take it in for all it's worth until we get snow, and then I don't like it anymore. But anyway, let's move on, and let's see what's happening in the world of sports with Alex Grubbs. Alex?
Thanks, Veronica. Well, Trevor, Veronica, the drought is now over, and it's definitely not the Pirates this time. The Chicago Cubs won the World Series, winning 8-7 in the 10th inning as it concluded Game 7. Playing at Progressive Field against the Cleveland Indians, tensions ran high as the game tied 6-6 in the 9th inning, and it was met with another foe, a 17-minute rain delay. While bats went swinging as the game got back to its feet, and Anthony Rizzo caught the winning strike at first base, leaving the Indians defeated. Chevrolet presented the World Series MVP title to infielder Ben Zobrist after the team received the World Series trophy. This is the team's first World Series win since 1908, ending the 108-year drought. Back in Pittsburgh, some Steelers players showed support for the military as they visited the 171st Air Refueling Wing at the Pennsylvania Air National Guard. Steelers players B.J. Finney, Arthur Moats, and Greg Warren came as part of the team's Salute to Service commemoration. Being a son of a Marine, Moats told the Steelers, quote, "It's always important to support the Salute to Service initiative with us having military backgrounds as well," unquote. They signed autographs, toured a KC-153 Stratotanker, and took their best shot at a simulator, hooking a plane up to another to refuel it while other teammates control the weather around them. The National Football League created their Salute to Service as a way to commemorate Veterans Day. The Steelers will designate November 13th's game against the Dallas Cowboys to honor local military. And the Western Pennsylvania Interscholastic Athletic League announced the pairings for the first round of the 2016 high school football playoffs, kicking off on Friday. Big games are expected as North Allegheny takes Hempfield on home turf, Mount Lebanon takes on Seneca Valley, and Woodland Hills takes on Franklin Regional in their home stadium in Turtle Creek. This comes after Whitfield reclassified school districts into 6 classifications instead of 4 in early 2016. AAA, Quad A, 5A, and 6A schools will play their finals November 18th at Heinz Field, while single and AA schools will play their finals November 26th at Robert Morris University's Joe Walton Stadium. Well, Trevor, Veronica, that's all I have for sports. Now back to you guys over on the couch for campus news.
Thanks, Alex. Point Park University School of Communication students and Professor Camille Downing traveled to the Public Relations Student Society of America's 2016 National Conference. The Crossroads of Public Relations Conference, held on October 21st through the 25th in Indianapolis, allowed students to attend development sessions with professors affiliated with Vera Bradley, Warner Brothers Television, and GMC Communications.
On October 20th, Corporate Sales and Marketing Manager Kathy Wallace came to Point Park to talk to students, particularly sports, arts, and entertainment management majors. According to Point Park's website, Wallace spoke with students over lunch and conducted a workshop and a lecture about various topics like how to sell corporate sponsorships and what it's like to be the promoter and protector of the Steelers' logos, licensing, and trademarks.
A 46-year-old unidentified male was found dead in a stairwell of a building near Point Park University early Monday morning. According to reports, the man was a burglar who had been broken into an apartment on the 7th floor of 333 Boulevard of the Allies. The resident of the apartment was home at the time. There was a brief struggle, and the resident chased out the burglar. The case of the death is still under investigation.
Point Park hosted the Homeless Children's Education Fund's We Live Here Too art exhibit Friday. Artists who experienced homelessness were able to display work for profit in Lawrence Hall. Art including sketches, paintings, photographs, and sculptures. Chatham University senior Grace Ennick was responsible for organizing the event and ensured that the artists had all the tools and supplies they needed to create their work. The first We Live Here Too event, held last October, included 60 pieces of art, and this year, over 200 pieces were auctioned off. That's all for campus news. Coming up after the break, we have news around the world and around town.
That and more here on Daybreak.
We are a social people. We share our inspiration, wisdom, creations, and memories. We share what makes us laugh and what angers us. Built on the notion of a free flow of ideas, our country thrives on the freedom of speech. Without it, who would watch over our governing powers? And how would we share our history to make a difference for the future? It's this freedom to share that gives us a reason to listen.
All right, guys, any questions on scripts? We good to go?
Yep, right. Should be good.
All right, great. All right, yeah, camera 3 set up right there. Camera 2. All right. Use the bar when you're moving this around, but set up for the 2 shots just right there. Weather, how we doing?
It gon' rain.
Perfect.
Welcome back to Daybreak. I'm Sarah Mackin with your The real host, Adrian Billon, was seen snuggled up.
All right, prompter. We got everything in. We're good to go? Key Pro, everything loaded. We're good to go? All right. Tyler, any questions?
That shot looks fine.
3, 2, 1. Bring up camera 2. Open mics. Cue talent.
Good morning and welcome to Daybreak. I'm Blaine King.
Thanks for tuning in. I'm Aubrey Henkin.
And I'm Aaron Myler.
And this is Entertainment on Point.
Beyonce has surprised us again.
Kanye West just tweeted,
"This was a huge weekend at the box office.
A fan favorite TV show just got canceled. Guess what band is coming to the city? And the award went to...
But did you see her engagement ring?
Her outfit was awful.
I would fire her stylist.
Tune in for all of your Hollywood gossip and pop culture news.
Entertainment on Point.
Get to the point of pop culture.
Yeah! Welcome back to Daybreak, and here's your city news. Last week, the mayor's office unveiled a new mobile map to provide the residents of Pittsburgh more information on their city. Bird's Eye View, a mobile web map, was designed by the Department of Innovation and Performance's Analytics and Strategy team in conjunction with the mayor's office and was designed to give citizens more information about what is going on around their neighborhood. The map, according to the mayor's office, was designed as a, quote, one-stop shop for residents and community groups to access and view city data, end quote. The Bird's Eye View map can be found by going to the City of Pittsburgh's website.
With the election tomorrow, both parties made last-ditch efforts last week to try and sway the voters in western Pennsylvania. Governor Mike Pence, running mate of Donald Trump, made 2 stops in the area. First, he visited Westmoreland County Community College in Greensburg, and then on Friday, he was in Moon Township speaking to prospective voters. Senator Hillary Clinton was also in the area last Friday. Clinton had an event at the Great Hall in Heinz Field on Friday afternoon. The state of Pennsylvania is viewed by many as a key swing state in this election, even though current polls have Clinton leading Trump in the Keystone State.
Last Wednesday, 5 new laws were signed by Governor Tom Wolf to help deal with the opioid addiction problem facing Pennsylvania. Some of the measures that will be put in place by the passing of the laws include doctors checking the state's prescription drug monitoring database when opioids are prescribed and not just for the first-time patients. While Governor Wolf has acknowledged these laws are a step in the right direction, they are not the solution, stating, quote, "This is just a start. Let's keep working on it," end quote. Another measure is teaching medical students alternatives to prescribing opioids and how to identify risk patients. These bills will go into effect starting in December.
Now that Halloween is over, many people are already getting in the Christmas spirit, including the city of Pittsburgh. Beyond already seeing wreaths hung on light posts around the city-county building, the date for Comcast Light Up Night has been announced. The annual celebration that kicks off the holiday season will be taking place on Friday, November 18th. Included in the celebration will be a holiday village in Market Square, the opening of the ice skating rink at PPG Place, and the lighting of the Christmas tree on the old Joseph Horns building. For more information on all the events, you can go to downtownpittsburgh.com/holiday. Now to take a look at what is going on across the country, let's go over to Josh Krupp at the Daybreak News Desk.
Thanks, Trevor. Months of spending, debating, and attacking are hours away from being over. The 2016 presidential election has dominated the news cycle for months, but tomorrow we finally put that all aside and vote for the next president of the United States. Early voting has already experienced a turnout twice that of 2012. 1 week before the Obama-Romney election in 2012, nearly 13 million votes were cast. This year, more than 26 million. In 12 battleground states, almost 13 million ballots have already been cast, opposed to 8 million 1 week before Election Day 2012. In Congress on Election Day, the Democrats will need to gain a net of 5 seats to retake control of the Senate and a net of 30 seats to take back the House. And when you drive home from the polls tomorrow, you may have to pay more if you stop at a gas station. An explosion and fire at a pipeline in Shelby County, Maryland is the cause. Colonial Pipeline delivers about 1/3 of the gasoline used on the East Coast. And last Monday, a major explosion. Reports say 1 person was killed and as many as 7 were seriously injured. A recent gas leak led to a region-wide gas shortage at the same pipeline. The company says 1.3 million barrels of gasoline flow every day through the pipeline. A suspect killed in last week's ambush killing of 2 Iowa police officers was taken into custody. Investigators say 46-year-old Scott Michael Green shot 2 police officers as they sat in their cars at intersections separated by 2 miles shortly after 1 a.m. last Wednesday. Green was removed by police from a high school football stadium 2 weeks prior after he says his Confederate flag was stolen by other spectators. And finally, the Catholic Church says its ban on female priests will stand forever. Pope Francis said last week the church's restriction on women entering priesthood is likely to remain in place forever. A journalist asked the Pope last week in Rome if the church might see the female priest starting to come within the next decade. The Pope responded and referenced a letter by Pope John Paul II, written back in 1994, that said, ordaining women was not possible because Jesus chose only men as his apostles. That's everything you need to know. Trevor, Veronica, back to you.
Thanks, Josh. What's the word on the street about the new MacBook Pro?
And who's making noise in the entertainment world?
All this here on Daybreak.
Here on the Pioneer Sideline, we talk a lot about sports in the studio, but it's beforehand when the conversation is actually interesting.
I hope I have enough powder on. I don't want to be too shiny on camera.
No, Trevor, I think it looks good. Every week you pull it off.
Ah, thanks, Phil. Man, your hair looks great tonight, by the way.
You sure? Yeah, I mean, I got a new haircut, but it looks all right.
Hey guys, does this make me look fat?
No, you look great. You look good. Yeah, Kyle.
Thanks, that was really...
Sports! Yeah! Ever wanted to be behind the mic and have the world listening to your show on campus? Well, it's just as simple as joining WPPJ, Point Park's student-run radio station. located on the second floor of Lawrence Hall, right next to the dining services. Listeners can tune in using Point Park's website or through the TuneIn app by searching WPPJ. WPPJ welcomes any new DJs that want to get involved, so be heard. Do you have what it takes?
Well, no one showed up to the show tonight. Follow my lead. In 3, 2, take 2, Open Mic's Q Talent. Good evening and welcome to UView News. I'm Josh Krupp. We begin with breaking news out of West Penn Hall. Ready, 3, take lower third. Traffic is backed up in the West Penn elevator line after elevator 1 broke down on the 7th floor. Lose lower third. Maintenance advises students to take the stairs to avoid delays. Ready, 2, take 2. In other news, no, you know what? I didn't sign up for this. We need crew. Join UView. Take alien hand transition.
Welcome back to Daybreak. I'm Miranda Van Bramer with this week's tech news. If there's one running theme through all of the reviews of Apple's latest MacBook Pro hardware, it's that Apple has made a misstep. Be it the standardized ports of USB-C, the lack of a MagSafe power connector, or the relatively weak specifications, everyone is sure there's something wrong with the MacBook. With that scene now set, let's look at the first reviews for the MacBook Pro. Apple has passed out review units of the lower-end 13-inch MacBook Pro with the function keys and 2 USB-C ports. The Touch Bar edition will be arriving in the near future. But what stands out in the reviews? There's a lot of questioning about Apple's decisions, but there's still a solid computer in the chassis, even if it is not the computer that many were expecting or hoping for. Specifications-wise, the MacBook Pro is in the middle of the pack thanks to the use of the older Skylake architecture. Andrew Cunningham talks about those chips and the reasoning behind the 16GB limit for RAM. Looks like this Apple is pretty bruised. And Sunflower Labs, with headquarters in Silicon Valley and Zurich, Switzerland, announced a new security system on Thursday that detects possible threats and investigates them with a drone. The drone streams video to your smartphone so you can see and decide if your home is at risk or not. Sunflower Labs, which is now accepting participant applications, will start beta tests in mid-2017. The startup sees itself as a complement to traditional alarms. Here's how it works. The Sunflower Home Awareness System relies on the drone and a handful of in-ground smart lights to watch over your house. It detects motion, vibration, and sound. By analyzing this data, the system can distinguish between a human, a car, and animals. To do so, it uses artificial intelligence to identify the disturbance and determine if it's potentially dangerous. When a person approaches and lingers outside the back door, Sunflower Labs will send a push notification to your smartphone and ask if you'd like to investigate. The price of the system is unclear as of now, but the lights are expected to cost $159 each. Meanwhile, the drone can be rented for a fee comparable to what traditional alarm systems cost. I'm Miranda Van Bramer, and that's it for your tech news. Let's go to Donnies on entertainment.
So music star Beyonce was a surprise performer in the 50th Annual Country Music Association Awards, celebrated in Nashville last Wednesday. She sang with her fellow Texans, the Dixie Chicks, and they sang a rendition of Daddy Lessons, which had most of the crowd in the arena on its feet. In other news, Beauty and the Beast fans got their first real glimpse of Emma Watson as Belle on Wednesday. The 26-year-old English actress and Dan Stevens, 34 years old, brought the Disney classic to life for the November 11th cover of Entertainment Weekly. Quote, "I can't even think how many times I've watched it as a child," end quote, Watson said the 1991 animated version, Quote, "I knew all the words by heart. I knew all the songs by heart," end quote. Watson and Stevens channeled Belle and the Beast dance to Beauty and the Beast for the cover. Costume designer Jacqueline Duran told the magazine it took several tries to get the actress' iconic gown right. And finally, Johnny Depp will star in the sequel to upcoming Harry Potter spin-off Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. Warner Bros. Warner Bros., the studio handling the film, is not revealing the role that Depp will play. However, he's also appearing briefly in Fantastic Beasts, which opens on November 18th. The stars Eddie Redmayne and Newt Scamander, with David Yates directing. Harry Potter authors and Fantastic Beasts screenwriter J.K. Rowling revealed last month that she's planning on 5 films for the franchise. Fantastic Beasts sequel will release on November 16th of 2018. Shooting will begin next year. That's all I have for you this week. Let's go back to Daybreak's cutest on-air couple, Trevor and Veronica.
Thanks, Danny. After the break, we'll talk with Olson Scott Kelly, Artistic Director of Point Park Productions, excuse me.
He'll be giving us a preview of their new season, only here on Daybreak.
Welcome back to Daybreak. Today we're joined by Olson Scott Kelly. He is Art Director of Park Productions. Welcome.
Hi, thank you.
Yeah, thanks for being here. Now, why don't you describe what it is you do at Park Productions?
Sure, yeah. Park Productions was founded 2 years ago by Mason Alexander Park. He graduated last year and he's now on the road with Hedwig and the Angry Inch on tour,
nice.
which is very cool. But we basically started it as a theater company to give conservatory students who are in theater more of an opportunity to do different works that maybe aren't being done at the school. So it was formed and it became a nonprofit and kind of was adopted a little bit by CLO, and so we work now with them and present 5 to 6 productions, even more sometimes throughout the year. We do concert musicals, we do full-length musicals, we do readings of different musicals, and so it's become a sort of like musical theater organization for students to have a different opportunity and experiment a little bit more.
So did Mr. Park start this all himself?
Yeah, Mason started it with a few other people who have now moved on from the school.
Right.
But he did start it himself, yeah.
And tell me a little bit about the most recent things you've been doing as far as maybe a show or...
Sure, yeah. In early October, we did our Miscast Cabaret. So we basically had everyone audition with songs in which, it was like roles that they would never be cast in. So like maybe racially incorrect roles or gender bent roles or, different things like that. Like a song that you've always wanted to sing but never would actually be able to sing on stage. And so we had people audition with that and we ended up selling out and had to hold the show for 30 minutes to fit everyone in, and it was really just a lot of fun.
Yeah,
so that kind of kicked off our season.
I've been to several performances like that before. Those are always so much fun.
Yeah, they're a lot of fun. Yeah.
Now, where are the performances? Are they at? You mentioned CLO Cabaret. Is that where they are? Or at the
yeah.
Playhouse,
So we
or
perform exclusively with the CLO Cabaret. We're in our 3rd year of partnership with them. We have a show coming this year that's going to actually move outside. We're calling it Park Without Walls. And it's going to be, like a different kind of theater experience that's going to take place away from the cabaret. But for the most part, we do perform with them, and they're just terrific about having us in and, really making us feel welcome and giving us this incredible space to get to perform in.
Right. How do you market your shows? I mean, how do people know about them? Is it just conservatory students?
It's interesting. This year, this is my first year becoming artistic director now that Mason is gone. I had to, apply and get that job from him. But so my whole thing is I wanted to look at a different way to market our shows in kind of a non-traditional sense. Before we were always putting up posters at different areas and advertising it out through various means. But for Miscast, we only advertised on Facebook, 100% on Facebook, and ended up completely selling out the show. So it's just kind of interesting how we're playing with it, but Facebook right now is kind of the hot tool for theater kind of all over, and so that's what we've been working with so far. We market it a lot to students. Miscast actually was pretty diverse in terms of what kind of people we had there. Our next show we're thinking might be a little less students and more general public, but we want everyone to be welcome and to come, but I'd say we mostly target our students here.
And then in terms of the kind of shows you guys do, are they for the common fan of theater or something? Are they things they're going to recognize or stuff that they might not necessarily have heard of but would like to discover? What kind of, what's the process you guys go through for selecting what you do?
It's because we're only in our 3rd season of producing, it's still kind of like we're trying to figure things out. You know, our first season we did Rocky Horror, which is obviously very well known, and then our second season brought it back for a second time. This season we wanted to play with shows that were pretty well known, but we also wanted to bring in some things that weren't, like our next show that we're in rehearsals for right now, A New Brain, which is a show that a lot of people don't know anything about. But you know, we felt it was important to bring works like that into the space, as well as bringing in bigger things like Dogfight, which we're doing next semester, which is, you know, a very well-known musical. So you know, we kind of play with doing things that are well-known and then doing things that aren't at the same time.
Right. So what is your next show? Remind us again. When is it?
Yes.
What time? How do you get tickets?
Yes, it's A New Brain in concert.
Okay.
It's going to be on Thursday, the 17th of November.
Okay.
You can get tickets at park.productions. That's a real website. Or you can like our Facebook page, Park Productions, and then we're selling tickets. It'll be at 10:30, so it's in a little bit of a late night spot there, but it'll be a lot of fun.
Great. Well, maybe Trevor and I will show
absolutely.
up.
We
I
would
think
love
that
to
would
have
be
you
really
guys.
fun. Thank you for coming.
Yeah, thank
also,
you.
Scott Kelly, everyone from Park Productions. And that's it for Daybreak. Make sure you join us again next week for the news you need. I'm Veronica Buccelli.
And I'm Trevor Sheets here on Daybreak, hoping your news is good news.